I'll tell you. Music चला रहा है मुझे.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land, glory, hearts and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. So first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Deb Gosel, and I'm one of the members and directors of the Brampton Housing Providers Association. And I'm really excited and delighted to be one of the members and the directors as well. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here this afternoon. As you can see, there's a lot of presence of males here. I would certainly encourage that if you can bring, maybe your wives, your sisters, anybody else. I mean, we need more presence of the women in these meetings in order to win this battle. Okay? So let's begin with. So we would like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather and which Brampton operates on is part of the treaty lands and territory of Mississaugas of the Credit. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples inhabited and cared for this land and continue to do so today. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabe, Huron, Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Ojibwe Chippewa peoples. The land that is home to Métis, and most recently, the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We recognize and honor the enduring presence of Indigenous people on this land and express our gratitude for these stewardship over generations. We also acknowledge the historical and ongoing impact of colonization, including the displacement and dispossession of Indigenous people from the traditional territories. As we gather on this land, we commit to learning from Indigenous communities, supporting their self-determination, and working towards reconciliation and healing. May we all strive to be good stewards of this land and build respectful and collaborative relationships with Indigenous peoples based on mutual understanding and respect. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dunisha, for singing national anthem for us, and thank you, David, for giving the acknowledgement to the Black Heritage. So, I think most of you know me since we have started our journey from the January 1st in Brampton. So first of all, I will welcome every one of you to be coming to this inaugural efforts. It's not just the association which we are starting today. We are starting a new community. This is a community which we will embark a new journey together for all the issues which we have developed. Because since
I know. I don't want to hear
the
that.
mind of that we have to restart our association.
Yeah, I feel like I want.
You're matching with Mama G.
There are so many associations for the land advocacy across the entire. Why we need a new one? Because this particular organization is a city Brampton Landlords Associations. So there are certain issues that we have it on the daily basis. For the landlords, that is up to the city level or the regional level. So there should be some organizations who is taking care of that. A wider scope of the organizations who are dealing at the provincial level or particular issues. They do not have a lens to see the small issues which is a very specific to that specific city or it should be to a specific reason. So hence we come into the idea that it's a very much necessary. I know it's late, but anytime when we are starting is better to be start somewhere and so that's why we have become in the idea of that because we should have these associations. So this is not just one or two persons associations. This is the community which we are building and bringing all these small landlords together. And so we will be empowered our small landlords that you are not alone. We are all together with you. If you will go through any problem, feel free, reach out to us. The whole community will stand with you. Because if there are the small landlords in Ontario is not an easy job. It's a big task. How the regulations, how is the property values, financial damages, time, mental pressures, any landlord will see that. People only see that whatever the small reward we receive it. And if we see that at the end, it's a big undertaking when you decided to even rent out a small unit within the house, even you are living in. We have seen that even in the basement, you are living in the same house, and in your own home, you cannot be other part of your own home where you are living because your tenant will allow you to come inside the property. There are the laws 24-hour notice, but that really does not serve the purpose because when really you go through the trouble. We have small landlords here in the Brampton. We can discuss about the cases and what mental pressure and the stress they go through. Like from the January 1st when we had this residential rental licensing program started by the city. Our city council is thinking that creating a bylaw on the top of the bylaw will resolve everything. Because when they are sitting on the chair and try to make the law, I don't think so they make in-depth study. Because if even when we studied this, the article on the January 1st version, how it was drafted, it was not beneficial for landlords, it's not in the favor of tenants, it's even not for the benefit of the whole city. Whatever the issues, the city wants to resolve it, that is not serving the purpose. Because, and that's why within the 22 days of the launch of this pilot program, city has just in the 22 days. Yes, they brought it back with the comment, and we have published letters. We did get allocations. We sat with the mayor as well, and the biggest drawback, or I would say that the problem which we faced in our city council. Our city council is not willing to sit and discuss with the people that they create a law. And they said that when in the media, we had the town hall, and several other people joined. Only the questions they were allowed to ask is 10 questions or 10 or 15 questions they ask in that town hall, and that questions were redundant, but the people who are generally asking the question, we have our subcommittee where we have a 20 people join, and I think almost 100 to 200 people were on the call, and none of the persons got a chance to ask a question. So it means that was a cherry pick of these questions, how it was created. So this is just the RRL, and from that journey perspective, because it was thought that we should join because we surface the other issues. Like in the reason of being, if you want to transfer your water bill on the tenant name, you can't. It will be always will be on the landlord name. So forever, because even it's a property is rented, that's not nice. That's not right. And like unlike the other cities, they allow like in Toronto, and if you are putting the utilities on the tenant's name, you can transfer the water bill, all these utilities on the tenant's name. But in Brampton, it will always stick with the landlords. So when these are certain kind of the issues which is at the city level, so that's why because our organization is came forward. And it's not only limited to the city level, we're going to be working with partners, associations who are working on the landlord advocacy. So we have a partnership, going to be partnership with the SOLO as well. So we will collaborate with them. So we will see that how we can bring worker, SOLO, open room, and landlord associations, the city, who is a tremendous knowledge on the landlord in Ontario, and so we will work with them to inform the landlord and tenant code issues. And so, what are the landlord and tenant code issues? I may not be take much of the time to discuss about that. I think everybody touched. When we talk about the LTV, everybody knows that what we're going to be talking about that. But the main thing is that delay in the first place. Why? Because if there, why we are keep reducing the staffs? Because in this LTV right now, in normal, the day you submit your application, it usually takes from 6 to 8 months to be just to be scheduled. I have been through that process in 2018, and it was a nightmare because it had to do with the landlord and tenant board. So with all that, so definitely we will all work together, and we are looking forward to hold each other's hand to make this community successful, and we definitely with each other's power.
Are you coming to our house after?
Help, and we will bring change, tremendous change in
Good.
this landlord in Ontario. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi.
Wait, G.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aisha Kalkender, and I am one of the members and directors of BHPA. Now I'm here to discuss briefly that how BHPA will help landlords. Here are some key points. Number one, education and training. BHPA shall offer workshops, seminars, and resources to help landlords understand their rights and responsibilities under Ontario tenancy laws. These events will provide the platform for landlords, tenants, and elected officials to share their experiences and promote understanding of rights and responsibilities and encourage best practices in property management and tenancy. Number 3, legal support. We are not lawyers, but work in close relationship with lawyers and paralegals. We can provide general advice on tenancy laws of Ontario, but our lawyers can help landlords with proper legal advice and services, particularly in navigating complex legal issues such as evictions and disputes with tenants. Number 4, networking and community outreach. BHPA will facilitate networking opportunities for landlords to connect with each other, share experiences, and exchange best practices. We shall use various newsletters, social media, community meetings, and local media to keep community informed about new laws or activities, upcoming events, and opportunities for involvement. Number 5, delegate to City Hall for new policies. We shall actively engage with elected officials at municipal level to delegate for policy discussions and provide our input for fair housing policies that benefit both landlords and tenants. Number 6, tenant screening. We can provide guidance on how to effectively screen potential tenants to mitigate risks. Number 7, community resources. We can connect landlords with other community resources such as housing assistance programs and financial support options. Number 7, collaboration with other non-profit organizations. By bringing together landlords, tenants, government agencies, and other landlord advocacy organizations, we worked towards innovative and inclusive solutions that benefit everyone. It will improve landlord-tenant relationships by communication and honest practices, which can foster positive relationship between landlords, tenants, and regulatory authorities. In conclusion, we shall be advocating for fair treatment, legal protection, and efficient resolution of disputes regarding landlords and tenants. It is about fostering positive landlord and tenant relationships while ensuring the rights and responsibilities of both parties are respected. Thank you for all your attention and participation. Thank you.
Now I want to invite Mr. Baljit Singh Sandhu. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. Myself, Baljit Sandhu, and by profession I'm a lawyer. And just when it's not working, check. Hello. Sorry. By profession, I'm a lawyer, and I do most of the real estate. And the situation when I saw there was a lot of on the Facebook, and like that this is the problem that the landlord is facing. And then we discussed with Ravi ji and Ajad ji, and then I should did the delegation 2 times in the city, and because I found that the laws they are making, that is against the landlords, and those laws are directly in conflict with the residential tenancy board also. And we discussed that all that stuff, but still we are not able to obsolete that bylaw that they made it, but we are still struggling with that. And so there was a need that we need an organization and the body who can work, and that's why we built this body so that we can work for you and we can work all together for this. And only thing is that when like they have a board, landlord tenant board. First we see in any case, because when you work with when you have a conflict with tenant, you see only one thing. So you should never fall in a conflict, always try to avoid it, because most of the tenants, what they try to do, they want to implicate you in a criminal charges. They want to do something that they will make a call to the police, and they said come here, and they will try to harass you, and so that you will be in bigger trouble than just the litigation. So in my experience, I do some civil litigation too, or some criminal cases. I see that the most of the time there is a small part when you have a conflict, you just you not try to avoid it. But best thing is try to avoid that conflict. And secondly, this is the body we are working, and if you have any issue, you can always give us a call, and we will refer you to some legal teams also, and they would be helping us. And because because I belong to this body and I will not be able to give any legal advice, still I can give you the general advice on any issue you have. So like if you go on the landlord tenant board website, you will see there are the various forms, and first if you have any issue, you have to give the notice first. Then after notice, you have to go through the application process, and the application process, then you have for mediation, then you have hearing, then you have the court order. This is the basically the process of the landlord tenant board. But still we need a reform in all this process, because there is a lot of delay in whole legal process, and that is not best for the landlords, but that is best for the tenants, because they are using the system against us. And the thing is that if you have an outstanding rent to any tenant, and if you don't want to go to the landlord, still you can go to the small claim also. You can put an application to the small claim if there is an outstanding rent. So I am ending here, and I am very thankful to you all, you coming here, and we will work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajit. Now, let's say happy birthday to Brampton Housing Provider Association. Today, the work of Brampton Housing Provider Association, but we will make it grow in such a wonderful way that all Bramptonians, all Ontarians and Canadians will have proud that the BHPA was born for a cause. Thank you. Now, let's talk about the RRL. I will speak in Hindi too, because most of the audience are Punjabi and they understand Hindi. So I'll apologize if someone is not understanding. But thing is that, देखिए जो RRL है, ये जो मोमेंटम जो स्टार्ट हुआ था हमारा, ये RRL से स्टार्ट हुआ था, और आज हम इस मुकाम पे पहुंचे हैं, और वो किसके लिए? आप सबके साथ से। अब आप बताइए, मैं आपसे एक क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहता हूँ, अगर कोई होम ओनर मॉर्गेज की पेमेंट को मिस करता है, तो कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस क्या होते हैं? उसको नोटिस आ जाता है, अगर नोटिस उसके बाद भी पे नहीं करता, उसके बाद उसको बोलते हैं कि भी नहीं, अब आपका जो घर है वो पावर ऑफ सेल पे चला जाएगा। जब सिटी ऑफ ब्रैम्पटन एक बिजनेस लाइसेंस इश्यू करता है RRL के लिए, तो हमें बिजनेस राइट क्यों नहीं दिए जाते? अगर कोई हमारा रेंट पे नहीं करता, क्यों हमें होम ओनर्स को जिनकी जो लिविंग्स है वो इस रेंट पे डिपेंड करती है, क्योंकि आजकल इतनी महंगाई है, तो क्यों नहीं हमें राइट दिए जाए कि अगर कोई हमारा रेंट पे नहीं करता तो हम उसको इवेक्ट कर सकते हैं विद इन टाइम लिमिट। क्यों हमें ओंटारियो लैंडलॉर्ड टेनेंट बोर्ड के पास जाके एक साल की वेट करनी पड़ती है? नहीं, दिस इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल. बट गाइस, माय फ्रेंड्स, वी हैव टू वर्क टुगेदर. I cannot do alone, Ravi cannot do alone, Aisha ji or everybody or you cannot do alone, but we have to do together. So we are demanding the business rights under RRL if city is implementing. But you know that RRL is not serving any purpose with the city of Brampton has a concern. जो city of Brampton के concern थे, चाहे वो कारपेट रिमूवल का था, चाहे वो स्नो रिमूवल का था, चाहे वो ग्रास कटिंग का था, चाहे वो प्रॉपर्टी स्टैंडर्ड्स का था, चाहे वो ओवरक्राउडिंग का था, क्या RRL लाइसेंस लेने से वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाएंगी? बिल्कुल नहीं होंगे. This RRL is not for Brampton. Why it was just implemented in Brampton? Why the Mississauga municipal government did not apply in Mississauga? Why the Toronto did not? Why the Vaughan did not? Why the Curran did not? Why the Brampton? Because Brampton, the Brampton is not served properly by the local government. जो यहाँ की municipal government है, चाहे councillor है, mayor है, they are not working for us. Let me tell you. So next time we have to, whenever भी कोई देखो जितने भी मेंबर्स हैं ये प्रोग्राम्स में आते हैं, जो भी इवेंट्स होते हैं उनमें आते हैं, तो आपका राइट हमसे पूछना कि आप ब्रैम्पटन के लिए क्या करने लग रहे हो. बट वी आर फॉरगेटिंग कि आप सबको जागना पड़ेगा. दूसरा, ये जो सिटी है एक वर्चुअल सिटी बन के रह गया है. यहाँ पे कोई भी टाउन हॉल होती है, वर्चुअल टाउन होती है. अभी सिटी की जो सेफ्टी की टाउन हॉल थी, वर्चुअल थी. RRL के ऊपर जो टाउन हॉल थी, वर्चुअल थी. तो कोई भी यहाँ पे जो इवेंट होता है ब्रैम्पटन के अंदर, वो सब कुछ वर्चुअल है. क्योंकि जो पॉलिटिशियंस हैं, दे आर अफ्रेड फेसिंग द पीपल. देखो, जब फेस टू फेस कम्युनिकेशन होता है, वी कैन आस्क द क्वेश्चन कि व्हाई वहाँ हमारे को मौका ही नहीं मिलता. और जब भी टाउन हॉल होती है, जो वर्चुअल टाउन हॉल होती है, उसमें सिर्फ जो सिलेक्टेड क्वेश्चंस हैं, वेरी सिलेक्टेड, कि किसका बंदा किसने क्या पूछना है, वो वही उसी का क्वेश्चन लेते हैं और उसी से पूछते हैं. तो दिस सिटी, ब्रैम्पटन सिटी हैज बिकम सच ए मैस. पीपल आर क्राइंग. व्हाट इज बीइंग सॉल्व्ड? हर जगह नेबरहुड में भी कैमरा लगा दिया, स्कूल जोन में कैमरा लगा दिया. आप ये बताइए कि आपने अगर नेबरहुड में कैमरा लगाया तो क्या उससे क्राइम या स्पीड रुक जाएगी? स्पीड रोकने के लिए स्पीड ब्रेकर चाहिए. नोट द कैमरा. कैमरा जो है पैसे बनाने के लिए है, जबकि सिटी ऑफ ब्रैम्पटन को जो मेन जो इश्यूज हैं, जैसे कैसे सोल्व होना चाहिए, इस सिटी काउंसिल का कोई विजन नहीं है कि भाई ये चीज़ें कैसे होनी चाहिए. और दूसरा, अब जो RRL है, ये जो आंदोलन हमने जो ये मोमेंटम था RRL से स्टार्ट किया था, इसके आपने देखा हुआ 1 जनवरी को स्टार्ट हुआ, उसके बाद फिर हमने प्रोटेस्ट किया, उसके बाद इसको सिटी ब्रैम्पटन ने पॉज किया विदिन 3 वीक. क्योंकि इसके अंदर इतनी खामियां थी कि एक हाई स्कूल कहूँगा मैं, हाई स्कूल का जो स्टूडेंट है वही इस प्रोग्राम को बेटर डिजाइन कर सकता था. जब सिटी ऑफ ब्रैम्पटन जो है, जो वहाँ पर इतने इंटेलेक्चुअल लोग बैठे हुए थे, मैनेजर्स बैठे हैं, CEOs बैठे हैं, उनको यही नहीं पता कि भी RRL को कैसे हमें डिजाइन करना है. तो इन्होंने 3 वीक के अंदर इस प्रोग्राम को वापस लिया. हमने डेलीगेट किया, उसके बाद फिर हमने डेलीगेट किया. तो अल्टीमेटली जो सिटी ऑफ ब्रैम्पटन था उसने काफ़ी चेंजेस के साथ इस प्रोग्राम को रिलॉन्च किया. लेकिन अब भी हम कहते हैं कि ये प्रोग्राम जो RRL है, दिस इज नॉट फॉर ब्रैम्पटन. बिकॉज बाइला के ऊपर बाइला लगाने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. देयर इज नो नीड, बिकॉज देयर इज ऑलरेडी बाइला प्लेस्ड फॉर व्हाटएवर द सिटी इज कंसर्न्ड आर. तो मैं अब आप लोगों से एक अपडेट देना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि RRL के बारे में बहुत लोग पूछते हैं कि भी नेक्स्ट व्हाट इज नेक्स्ट. तो हम जो है 16 जून को टाइम रफली 2 बजे का, बट हम आपको पूरा एग्जैक्ट टाइम आपको कन्वे करेंगे कि 16 जून की जो तारीख है उसको हम सिटी हॉल के अंदर प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे. और आप लोगों को सबको आना. देखिए, जब कोई भी काम होता है, देखिए जो ये RRL का इश्यू है, जो होम ओनर्स का इश्यू है, ओंटारियो लैंडलॉर्ड टेनेंट बोर्ड का इश्यू है, ये कोई मेरा अकेले का नहीं है, कोई अकेले आपका नहीं है, हमारा सबका है. तो हमें सबने मिल के आना पड़ेगा. और देखिए, नंबर्स मैटर. कोई भी चीज़ होती है उसका इम्पैक्ट तभी ज़्यादा आएगा जब उसका नंबर ज़्यादा होगा. तो मैं आप सबसे ये विनती करता हूँ, एसोसिएशन की तरफ से, जो जिसका जन्म हुआ है इसकी तरफ से, और सारे मैनेजमेंट की तरफ से, और सब की तरफ से, कि आपने 16 जून को प्लीज़ आपने सिटी हॉल पे पहुंचना है. अप्रोक्सीमेट टाइम 2 बजे का है, लेकिन वी विल कीप ऑन पुटिंग इन द ग्रुप. और हम जो है रेडियो पे, TV पे, जहाँ तक हमारी पहुंच हो सकती है, हम इसको पूरा लोगों तक पहुंचाएंगे ताकि उस दिन एक नंबर मैटर करे। देखिए जितने भी हमने पहले प्रोग्राम्स किए हैं, किसी में 200 लोग आए हैं, 250 लोग आए। अरे ब्रैम्पटन की जो पॉपुलेशन है वो 7.5 लाख ऑफिशियल है, तो क्या हम 10,000 लोग भी नहीं इकट्ठे हो सकते? मैं कहता हूँ जिस दिन यहाँ ब्रैम्पटन के अंदर 10,000 लोग इस आंदोलन के साथ जुड़ गए, उसी दिन सब कुछ चेंज हो जाएगा। I need a commitment from all of you. Please, 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 enough is enough, and let's work together for better Brampton. Thank you, thank you.
Hello everyone, Sat Sri Akal, Namaste, Adab, and good afternoon. So RRL, Solo or BHPA, I have been a member for all of them. मैं सारे नाल जुड़िया शुरू तो लैके हुन तक एज ए लैंडलॉर्ड और एज ए टेनेंट मैं बोथ साइड देखी हैं. So as a tenant also you have to be a good tenant, and as a landlord also you have to be a good landlord. ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਿਸਟ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਚਾਹੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੈਂਡਲॉर्ड ਹੋ ਚਾਹੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੈਨੈਂਟ ਹੋ, ਚੰਗਾ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਚਾਹੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੰਗਾ ਕਰੋਗੇ, ਬਟ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਟੈਨੈਂਟ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਟੱਕਰੇਗਾ ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਡਿਸਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ. ਲਾਸਟ ਈਅਰ ਇੱਕ ਪੂਰਾ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ 1 ਸਾਲ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਰੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਿਆ. ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ? LTB ਇਜ਼ ਦਾ ਓਨਲੀ ਬੋਡੀ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. ਸੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਅੱਜ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਏ ਹਾਂ ਫॉर BHPA. BHPA ਨੇ ਸੋਲੋ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਲੈਬੋਰੇਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, ਵਿਚ ਇਜ਼ ਵੈਰੀ ਗੁੱਡ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਸੋਲੋ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ. ਐਂਡ ਆਪਾਂ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਜੋ ਸਿਟੀ ਇੰਪਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਵਿਚ ਇਜ਼ RRL ਦਾ ਮੋਟਿਵ ਜੋ ਐਜ਼ ਪਰ ਮੀ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਜੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਦਾ ਹੈ, only motive is revenue generation for city. As a resident, as a landlord, as a tenant, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੀ फ़ायदा होएगा? मेरे हिसाब नाल इट्स ऑलमोस्ट ज़ीरो. सिर्फ ਉਹਦੇ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ज़्यादा ने, फ़ायदा कोई नहीं है. मेरे एक पड़ोसी ने जो ਇੱਥੇ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਜੈਸ਼ਨ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਰਜਿਸਟ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਬਣਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਫॉर ਐਵਰੀ ਟੈਨੈਂਟ. ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਟੈਨੈਂਟ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਰਜਿਸਟ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਵਾਈ ਨਾਟ ਵੀ ਰਜਿਸਟਰ ਆਲ ਟੈਨੈਂਟਸ, ਜਿਹਦਾ ਕਿ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਇੱਕ ਸਿਟੀ ਕੋਲ ਵੀ ਜਾਏ ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ LTB ਕੋਲ ਵੀ ਜਾਏ. ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਨੂੰ ਉਹੀ ਟੈਨੈਂਟ ਜਾਂ ਉਹੀ ਲੈਂਡਲॉर्ड ਵੀ ਜੇ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਰਜਿਸਟਰ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਸਿਸਟਮ 'ਚ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਕਿ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕੁਝ ਗਲਤ ਕੀਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ. ਸੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਮੋਮੈਂਟਮ ਇੱਥੇ ਛੱਡਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਵਿਲ ਸਟਿਲ ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊ ਇਟ. ਸੋ ਫਸਟ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਆਫਟਰ ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਔਨ June 8th. June 8th ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਕੁਈਨਸ ਪਾਰਕ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਵਿਚ ਇਜ਼ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜ਼ਡ ਬਾਈ ਸੋਲੋ. And all protest is more focused towards LTB and the issues with LTB we are facing. And other side which is on June 16th जो आज़ाद जी ने जिस तरह दसिया कि आपा वो protest करना है RRL the against. So city can, I would say if they can, if just completely back out of this RRL whole process which is useless. क्योंकि जे आपा register करके एक tenant ਨੂੰ we can bring the issues forward. Bylaw ਜਿਹੜਾ already exist ਕਰਦਾ ਉਹਦੇ under, so there is no point to bring another bylaw on top of bylaw and just waste people's money, which is the main motive of city. So once again request is June 8th, June 16th ਜਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਹੋਣਗੇ protest. Again ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਤੋਂ ਹਾਂ, ਮੈਂ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸੋਲੋ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ 'ਚ ਗਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ and trust me टोटल बंदे पंजाबी कम्यूनिटी तो आए सीगे. टोटल 5 बंदे इन 400 पीपल, विच वॉज फॉर मी इट वॉज वेरी शॉकिंग. जदों कि उत्थे चाइनीज़ कम्यूनिटी तो 200 बंदा आया सीगा. जदों कि आपां जे ब्रैम्पटन देखिए या मिसिसागा देखिए, पंजाबी कम्यूनिटी इज़ द की. बट पंजाबी कम्यूनिटी बोलती बहुत कुछ है, डोंट टेक मी रॉन्ग, मैं उसी कम्यूनिटी का हिस्सा हाँ, बट बोलती बहुत कुछ है. बट जदों अगे आंदा टाइम आंदा कोई अगे नहीं आंदा. So that's all. Once again request that people do come forward. जे तुसी आगे नहीं आओगे तो कंप्लेंट ही रह जाएगी, होएगा कुछ भी नहीं. Thank you.
Hello. Now I'm inviting Mr. Bhavika Kamota to say 2 words, and any volunteer, anybody who wants to say something, but very short. So I'm inviting the volunteers, 3-4 volunteers who can come, they can tell their story and what we should do. I will respect that one. So if someone wants to speak, please come to the side so that we will give them the time for 2-3 minutes everyone. Thank you so much. Bhavinaji, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would directly come to some suggestions because most of the part suggestions also Mr. Singh already explained. So my suggestions because first of all when we went for the delegation meeting in the city hall, their objective on all these things was objective to property standards and the safety. But as everybody say that their RRL is not fulfilling any part of that problems and it cannot create anything. We are here together to make our Brampton more livable, biggest property standard and the safety. And there are some suggestions. My suggestion was to start, city should start a registration program as Mr. Singh already explained. So process of the tenant registration with the nominal fee, and there should be some bylaws training program for those tenants. What are the bylaws? So how they can garbage, how they can parking, how they can. Cities should allow a time frame to visit all the.
We'll try to keep it under a few minutes.
Yeah, under here.
Directly affect to the.
What are you going to mention here?
So.
No, this is going to be
According to
you.
that, if the time frame.
After that, it's going to be you, right?
Should go to the.
Yeah, so I was going to play my video.
Okay.
So which will increase the same.
Then I'm going to talk about protest.
In the detail, I
And then I was going to talk about supporting this association.
Okay.
Yes. And then we're up here on Ontario level.
Yeah.
And then mention the protest again. So
Okay.
that's where I'm at. But
Yeah.
okay. We probably shouldn't. Sorry. Probably shouldn't cross over too much.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Inspect the property frequently and provide a written note of plan because this is the owner, the owner will inspect the property frequently and provide a written note of plan. They report to the tenant for each rectification with a specified time. After the third repeated incident, the owner will forward the concerned non-compliant report to the city to the proposed city's tenancy registration section. So the city will issue a ticket to the tenant and keep it in the report. The city inspector will inspect the property and issue the ticket to the tenant for any violation. The same should be noted in the tenant's report also. So the next time the tenant will go to the rent for any other property, the new tenant, the new lender will ask for the tenancy report from the city.
Yeah.
The city will issue the tenancy report
Yeah.
online with the video fee and with the inspector find any violation of the property standard and safety in the scope of the owner, then they can issue a ticket to the tenant also. So tenants and the landlord both will be accountable to that. So the other benefits by implementing the above situations, all non-compliant residential properties will be as per by laws. Then another one, the city will be able to track the vacant and occupied places and total number of registered tenants in the city. So there will be no overpopulation of the tenants or underutilization of the tenanted properties. Another one, the issues of garbage overflowing and other bylaw violations will be controlled, becoming tenants and owners all will be accountable in one system. The city, the homeowner and the tenants will work in a team. So the relationship of every resident of our city will improve. So the city will contact ESA or TSSA because these are the before RRR, whatever the implications and whatever the modification it is. It was before that they were going to vote. But only one thing I would say, in nutshell, RRL is completely only against the landlords. Not there is no involvement of any tenant. Okay? For example, a small example, if we are going to rent red light, we will hit and run. The police will ticket the person who is renting the car, not to the company. But RRL completely opposite to that. If you are giving your compliant unit to a tenant, any violation over there, city said the ticket will go to the landlord, which is totally unfavorable. So that's my two suggestions. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू बलविंदर जी। देखिए बिल्कुल बलविंदर जी का जो सुजेशन है कि भी टिकट किसको मिलनी चाहिए, टिकट उसको मिलनी चाहिए जो उस टाइम पे उसको ऑक्यूपाई करता है। अगर गाड़ी कोई चलाता है तो ड्राइवर जो है उसको टिकट मिलती है, न कि गाड़ी की रजिस्ट्रेशन जिसके नाम है उसको नहीं मिलती। जो कैमरे से आती है वो डिफरेंट बात है, लेकिन जब पुलिस ऑफिसर होता है तो उसी को टिकट मिलती है जो ड्राइवर सीट पे होता है। सेम टाइम जो टिकट्स है वो टेनेंट को मिलने चाहिए जो उस टाइम पे ऑक्यूपेंट है, जो उसमें होम ओनर भी हो सकता है, उसमें टेनेंट भी हो सकता है, उसी को टिकट मिलनी जो उस टाइम पे उसको ऑक्यूपाई करता है। और ये जो टाइम है, आज का जो टाइम है, लेट्स मेक द टेनेंट कंप्लायंट। Why only the landlord? No. It's a time to work together. Let's make everyone accountable. If there is a landlord fault, yes, we don't support the landlord if he not maintaining his property. But same time, if it's rented and renter is there, they have signed a legal lease, so renter is responsible. So provincial government and municipal government must understand that one. And these kind of programs, जो इस तरह के प्रोग्राम है, मेरे पास अभी अल्बर्टा से फोन आया था, वो कहते हैं यहाँ बड़ा अच्छा सिस्टम है, अगर किसी को रेंट पे देना तो सिटी से वेरीफाई होता है, सिटी उसको रिकमेंड करता है कि भी हाँ इसका रिकॉर्ड अच्छा है, इसकी कोई टिकट नहीं है। और उसके बाद मान लो कि रेंट पे नहीं करता तो सिटी का नोटिस जाता है, अगर वो फिर भी खाली नहीं करता तो पुलिस ऑफिसर आके उसको चेंज करवा के जाता है। वहाँ लैंडलॉर्ड टेनेंट बोर्ड में आपको इतना लंबा केस करने की जरूरत नहीं है। द प्रोग्राम इज मॉनिटर्ड बाय सिटी। अगर देखिए यहाँ पे भी जो लोगों की जो लाइवलीहुड है रेंट के ऊपर कितनी निर्भर है, और ब्रैम्पटन के अंदर कितने स्टूडेंट हैं, क्यों नहीं सिटी ऑफ ब्रैम्पटन और जो एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट है वो लोगों के साथ कोलैबोरेशन करके कि भी लोगों से पूछे जो रेंटेंट है कि भी आप रेंट आउट कौन करना चाहता है, आप उनसे पूछे जो रेंट आउट करना चाहता है, मान लो साइडन कॉलेज है या अल्गोमा यूनिवर्सिटी का कैंपस है, वो कहते हैं कि हाँ मैं कहता हूँ कि मेरा घर जो है आई एम रेडी टू रेंट आउट टू द स्टूडेंट्स। सो लेट्स इन्वॉल्व द इंस्टीट्यूशन एंड इस जो इंस्टीट्यूशन है उसकी गारंटी होनी चाहिए कि रेंट भी टाइम पे आना चाहिए और जो उसको प्रॉपर्टी का जो स्टैंडर्ड्स है वो भी मेंटेन होने चाहिए। लेकिन जहाँ पे लैंडलॉर्ड की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी वहाँ मेरी भी होनी चाहिए। ये नहीं कि हम एज ए लैंडलॉर्ड हम उस जिम्मेवारी से भाग जाएंगे अगर हम उसको सेफ एनवायरनमेंट देना है। तो इस तरह के जो प्रोग्राम्स हैं, देखिए हम बातें बहुत करते हैं, हमारे जो पॉलिटिशियन है बहुत बोलते हैं, लेकिन जब काम करने की बात आती है आप देखते हो कि वो कुछ भी नहीं करते। सारी की सारी जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं आप मेरे को बताइए कि पिछले 20 साल से 10 साल से 5 साल से 1 साल से वो सारी की सारी प्रॉब्लम खत्म नहीं हुई है, बल्कि वो प्रॉब्लम है वर्ष हुई। तो मैं अब आपसे कोई वॉलंटियरली कोई आना चाहता है, कोई बोलना चाहता है तो एनीबॉडी कैन कम, अदरवाइज वी विल स्टार्ट विद आवर इनवाइटेड गेस्ट। ओके, थैंक यू।
Yes.
Right? ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ, no farmers no food, ਕਿੰਨੀ ਜਨਤਾ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਯਾਰ ਨਾ ਦੁੱਖ ਕੱਟਦੀ ਹੈ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਇੱਥੋਂ, ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਨੂੰ ਥੈਂਕ ਟੂ ਗॉड। ਤੇ ਦੂਸਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ always tries, these municipal officers try to shove everything under the carpet। ਸੁਣਿਆ ਹੋਣਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਿਊਜ਼ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਕਿ 25 ਕਿਸੇ ਬੇਸਮੈਂਟ 'ਚ 25 ਮੁੰਡੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਕਿਤੇ 20 ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਆ। What did they do about that? Is it Surya? मैं कुछ नहीं सुना। I never heard anything. What happened to those complaints? So RRL was an easy way out for those government officials. ठीक है? So we have to fight and say, you know what, deal with the problems. There are problems are at hand, deal with them. No excuses, enough excuses. So please, Haftor Ebetia, do come to these meetings all the time, and any protest or anything, we want to hold hands together.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello. So now I'm inviting Boha, who is the chair of Solo Group.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you. Right there? Yeah. Hello, 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me. My name is Buba Ba. I'm the chair of Solo. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for this initiative to get together. We always say, do not complain, just do something about it. Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, BHP, to invite me to this meeting. Solo has been created almost 4.5 years ago during the pandemic, and we have close to 8,500 vetted members. That means we vet our members, make sure they are landlord and they own a property in Ontario. We offer several services. We refer to professional because we are not a lawyer, we are not paralegal. We offer platform with a good understanding of how things works. Basically, we have a place where you can call us. It's free. We don't offer, we don't charge anything, and you get a good ear that can listen to the issues. We have a multilingual toll-free number in Punjabi, in Hindi, in French. French is my first language, by the way, and of course in English, Cantonese, and Mandarin, you name it. We are free in our services. Thanks to our dedicated volunteer, nobody's getting paid for what we do. We have been officially registered as a lobby group with Queen's Park. We would love to work together with the Brampton Housing Provider Association. The reason is we are stronger when we work together. There are plenty of things we can do. There are plenty of things that cannot be done again because it's already been tried. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So we are at your disposal, and thanks God we are speaking with Ravi and your steering committee, and anything we can do to help, we will be more than happy to do with it. Again, unity is the most important thing, and involvement is the most important thing to achieve our goals, which is to give a fair shot to both good landlord and good tenant in this province. And I would like one more time to thank you for inviting me. I'm gonna let the upcoming chair of Solo, Kevin Costin, who will give you additional information. Thank you again.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Kevin, you can.
What's this clip on?
So you put this out as a
That'd be great. Can I move around a bit? Hi, everybody. Hey. So thanks, Ravi, for having us. We're Solo. I'm Kevin. Thanks, BHPA, for having us here. We're really excited to be here. I wanted to just play one 4-minute video for you guys. We're Solo. If you could go ahead and play that. This is just my national, CBC, the national report, and they reported on my situation. Hopefully the video could play out and we get some audio, and we'll take a look. It's possibly a slow
This
computer.
is Piyush Tosdia, Kanavo, basement fire deliberately set by tenants who had stopped paying rent.
Fire started right here, started burning out through these windows, up into
Okay.
the siding.
We can kill it.
And continuing up through the house down here, was pretty much destroyed.
You see the fire there? That's good. That's fine.
More than a year.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. It's all right. So, you see here, this is my house. I actually had a tenant who stopped paying rent. He stopped paying rent for 9 months. Then he continued to terrorize me so completely and so utterly to the point where he actually burned my house out completely. What you're looking at there is a part of the fire in the basement. And ultimately, the entire house had to be rebuilt right from the studs, right from the ground up. And that represented about $400,000 in rebuilding cost. It represented $26,000 in unpaid rent, even more than $10,000 before even the fire. So really, you know, my part of Solo and my connection to Solo is my experience as a housing provider. And as a housing provider that faced what we call a professional tenant, as you guys might have heard of that phrase before, some tenants are extra special, right? And I think you know what I'm talking about. So I want to point this out because part of this experience, after it was all said and done and my house was rebuilt, it was just finished last month after about a year and a month of rebuilding. I ended up writing a book about it, right? To tell my story. I called the book From Rent to Ruin, right? It tells the story of what the tenant did. It tells the story of how the system was completely apathetic towards me. The system really, really did me wrong, right? So part of what I wanted to talk about, you know, as Solo, we represent the Ontario level, the provincial level, and we support all associations, and we greatly support what you're doing at BHPA, right? So we want to coordinate with you guys with whatever you're doing, and we want you to be part of what we're doing, right? We can all work together. And one big part of this is what's happening on June the 8th. On June the 8th and on June the 12th, we are going to run a protest, and it's going to be about justice, okay? Because so much of what happens for housing providers today is a lack of basic justice. How apathetic the police were when they came, and my entire garage was completely destroyed. The guy had destroyed 2 cameras. They came and they didn't even look at it. They actually came 9 hours late, and they didn't even bother to look at the damage at all. They just left and said, that's a civil matter, right? This stuff happens too often, and we have to make our voices known. We have to get up and say something. We have to show that we can't accept this. We can't accept this lack of justice. We can't accept the added bureaucracy that they keep adding to the mix. We can't accept the 9 months, 10 months. It took me a year and some to get the guy out, right? Even after the fire, it took me 8 months to get possession of my own home, after it was completely burned out. Like, this is what's going on right now, and we have to stand up and do something. So I really, really invite you to be there with us on June the 8th at Queen's Park, okay? You don't have to be waving signs around. You can come and just see what's going on. You can come and gather. You can come and just stay to the sidelines. You don't have to get too deeply involved, but to be there and to show your support for what we're doing. And it's, there's a hand over here. What time is it? Well, we're meeting at noon, so we're going to gather at noon at Queen's Park, okay? Now, as you know, in Toronto, there's a lot of things going on, so there could be a strike, there could be rain, there could be, I don't know, it could be hail, it could be an act of God, who knows, but we're going to be there, and we're going to be there in numbers, and we've had good numbers in the past with these protests, and we just really invite you to come out and show your support. And the same goes for your protest on June the 16th, right? Be there, support your brethren, support, you know, the fight against the RRL to stop this, and the fight for fairness, because this is what we're fighting for, fairness, right? And as a landlord myself, I wish I had basic fairness, basic respect, right, from the authorities, and basic access to justice. When it's 9 months, it's not basic, it's not fair, right? So that's what I'm after. I really thank you guys again for having me here.
I didn't want to take too much time. Thank you again, Ravi. If you would like to pass it off to the next speaker. And thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Oh, I have a question here. Yeah. That's all. It happens. It's tech, right? Well, media tends to be somewhat fickle, right? So we don't know who will be there. We have invited all the media that we know and all of the people that we work with, because at Solo we work very closely with media. We run a ton of initiatives. We try to connect with the politicians. We're constantly working this. So we will invite the CBC multiple times by now we have, but we don't know. We don't ever get any guarantees whether they're going to be there and cover it, whether they're going to film anything, or whether they're going to be, we're going to be on a report. Like this report that was on CBC The National, I didn't even know if I was going to look like a bad guy or a good guy. I don't know, right? I don't know whether it was going to be 2 seconds. I was on Global TV and they put me on there for 2 seconds. But this report here is 4 minutes and 22 seconds. So, the media is kind of unpredictable in a way. But we will invite them and they will be there if we have our way. Any other questions? If anybody had a question for me? No? Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks again. What do you want to? Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And so now the next speaker is Chris CP. Chris CP, I request to give a big hand to this gentleman. The reason is when we have started our RRL journey, he is the first person who has responded to us and give us the outside of the Brampton a tremendous support and all the materials and time to time guide us, how to navigate that journey into the next step. So, I will invite Chris CP.
Okay, everybody can hear me in the back there? Because I couldn't hear. I'm getting old. So hello everyone, thanks for taking the time on a Sunday to come here and support this new association. I spent a lot of time, usually when I speak for an hour. So, I don't have to look at my notes, but because I only have less than 10 minutes, I'm gonna read something I prepared. And if we have time afterwards, I'll take a question or two. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I could meaningfully say to you in 10 minutes. On matters of business practices, legal issues, political challenges, and so on. I've been teaching a 6-Saturday course for the last 8 years or so, and I still don't feel satisfied, even then, that I've imparted all the knowledge a housing provider needs to be in the rental housing business in Ontario. Additionally, as many of you have seen, politicians and bureaucrats have been constantly interfering with the housing industry by changing the law and judicial processes in many ways, most of which have negative consequences, not only for housing providers or even tenants, but for the province as a whole, with the ever-increasing or worsening housing shortage and unaffordability crisis. In 2023, Ontario built 94,000 homes and still had a net loss of 6,448 rental properties. Ontario is the only province in Canada that experienced this loss. Ontario politicians seem oblivious to the fact that large numbers of small to medium housing providers are rapidly leaving the market. I personally believe Ontario's rental housing industry is going to get a lot worse over the next 2 years before it gets better. We'll see a large number of powers of sale, other distressed sales, and bankruptcies if politicians allow vacancy control. By show of hands, does everybody know what vacancy control is? If you know, raise your hand. If you don't, keep it down. So no one knows what vacancy control is. So rent control, which we have, I'm taking a sidestep here, I'm going to educate you. So rent control is the process by which rent is controlled during the tenancy. Vacancy control, which we do not have, controls the rent in between tenants. And we all know that when a tenant moves out, you can raise the rent to market. Well, government is looking at stopping that so that when a tenant moves out, the rent that was paid by the previous tenant will be the same as the rent for the new tenant. That's called vacancy control. So you can imagine a tenant who's been in a unit for 10 years, they're paying $300 a month below market, and you have to honor that price even though the electricity bills and insurance and property taxes and everything else has gone up. If vacancy control comes into play and they pass that legislation, it will be catastrophic. I guarantee it. Now, no one ever mentions that Ontario implemented vacancy control for 12 years, between 1986 and 1997. Never have I seen in any media reports in the last decade that they ever talk about this. But through the Rent Bureau, the province monitored over 650,000 rental units to ensure that the next renter of the unit received the same rent as the previous renter. The province spent $610 million to save the tenants $230. The remainder of that money was used to pay for the bureaucracy that was implemented to run the Rent Bureau. That $374 million could have been better used for social purpose, societal purposes, rather than underwriting a massive bureaucratic Rent Bureau. There are so many unbalanced issues housing providers face today. Rapidly increasing property tax, carbon tax, which will represent 65% of your bill. Carbon tax will represent 65% of your bill by 2030, in the next 7 years. 50% corporate tax. The big guys pay 13%. Everyone here pays 50% of your profit to the government. HST, recoverable capital cost allowance. I'm not going to get into that. Just remember RCCA and ask your accountant. That's the money that you have to pay back to the government when your property is sold. Increased capital gains, you know that it's increased to 67% recently. Rent guideline increases far below operating costs and inflation. No damage deposit, land transfer tax, development charges, cash in lieu fees, vacancy tax, inclusionary and exclusionary zoning, municipal licensing, forced inspections, which you know about, mortgage stress tests, and first-time buyer incentives. Now that might seem like a good thing, but all that buyer incentives are doing is increasing demand, which makes the supply even more, much lower. Now add government-owned utility cost increases, doubling mortgage insurance, rapidly increased mortgage rates, LTB-empowered bad debt, cash for keys, which nobody talked about yet, cash for keys extortion. It's legalized under the LTB. We can get into that if you like. Proposed speculation tax, a vacancy tax, NIMBYism, not in my backyard. Skilled trade labor shortages, collapsed supply chains, and consequent increased crime rates. I've been in this business for 15 years. I've had 5 deaths in my property, but all related to either bad health or old age. And 3 weeks ago, I had a murder. And it completely changed everything about my outlook on this business. That was in Oshawa. Most of the challenges I just mentioned are the direct or indirect consequences of government meddling in matters they either don't understand or they don't want to understand because of their agendas to win re-election. Perhaps this was not the kind of message you wanted to hear or were expecting to hear, but the challenges of rental housing in Ontario is a lengthy list and the one that the BHPA can help you address individually and as a business community. Organizing yourself into a single voice under this new organization is an excellent first step. but it will not get you any influence or the results you want unless you actively participate and engage government with the power of your voice. You must remind government of the invaluable service you provide. No municipality anywhere in the world can grow without housing providers. That's a simple fact, and the government forgets that all the time. In the meantime, I sincerely wish each of you success and prosperity in your rental housing endeavors. Thank you for inviting me to speak at your inaugural meeting, and I hope this is the beginning of good things for Brampton. Question before I go? Going, oh, I thought I'd get away. Shoot.
I entered the hall, not exactly 1 o'clock, so maybe you have already addressed this issue. In this hall, I believe many of us have got that letter, initial letter from the city, and presumably it looks like those letters went out to people who already have registered places, right? So my question is that if the focus is only on the people who are already in compliant basis, how does the city of Brampton have a game plan to reach the people who are not coming forward, and how will this RRL program motivate them, if at all?
Okay, so if I understood the question correctly, you know that the Brampton bylaw office and officers will be able to find those who are compliant, and you're wondering how they're going to find the ones who aren't compliant? Is that the question? So I spent 3 years fighting Oshawa, the city of Oshawa, 3 years, and stopped them from doing licensing. I did not do it on my own. We had many organizations, including Solo, including GTAA, and other landlord associations. But the net result was it took a long time to convince them that what they were doing was fundamentally not good for them and for the tenants. Every tax department of every city has a roll number attached to every property. So they know where all the properties are. What they don't know is where all the small attics and basements and, you know, what they're calling illegal units. So Oshawa wanted to hire, they wanted to double their staff from 25 people to 50 people. They wanted to charge landlords $5 million to set up that program and $2 million a year to run it, all paid by landlords. And they would do unsolicited inspections. They were going to go out to every landlord and say, we want to inspect every unit. And that would take an hour to answer how idiotic. I mean, I'd like to use a more neutral word, but I think idiots is probably appropriate in this case. It was just totally, let me give you one example of 100. If they passed licensing and you were not compliant with the licensing, then they would not give you a license, which means you can no longer rent. But there's nothing in the Residential Tenancies Act that says that you can terminate your tenancy because the tenant, because you're not compliant. So you're now caught between a rock and a hard place. You don't have a license to rent, but you have a tenant that's in your rental unit, but you can't terminate that tenancy, and it's a vicious circle. And there's 100 examples like that, and you guys are going to face exactly the same thing, guarantee it. So, did I answer your question? I'm not sure if I did completely. How are they going to find you? I think they're going to go to every single property and call for an inspection.
I wonder if they have the monetary or human resources to do that.
Well, that's why someone has to challenge them in a court of law.
You respect every second house or third house in the selected wards that you are focusing on. I have 1 or 2 rooms rented out, and are you going to go out there? Oh, this is my.
Well, let's take it a step further and make it even simpler. So the inspection officer calls up and says, I want to do an inspection of the rental unit. You do not have the right to arrange for that inspection. In fact, I would not make it, I would just tell them, contact the tenant. You make the arrangement with the tenant to inspect that unit. I cannot do that. There's nothing in the RTA that says I can automatically, call an inspection arbitrarily because some municipal officer wants to come in and take a look. So they're going to have to go, when the tenant is there, they're going to have to get the approval of the tenant. They're going to have to go in the evening most likely, which means they're going to be working night shift, and I don't know how many bylaw officers like to do that. So I would, what's the answer? Rebellion by non-participation, perhaps, right? Leaderless resistance. So my answer would be, say, you want to inspect the unit, go talk to the tenant. But I'm not going to facilitate that. I have no obligation to do so.
By the sound of it, it looks like you are punishing people who are already compliant and not even bothering about the ones that are.
Well, with respect to compliance, when the what do you call the chair of that committee introduced the motion for Oshawa, he said the vast majority of landlords are compliant. It's a minority that are not compliant, number one. And if you pass this legislation, it's going to be chaos. Those were his words. It's a matter of record. You can go on the Oshawa website and watch that portion. If you want to see only that portion, I've got the exact date and the time signature for that 15-minute discussion. Anyway, I'm taking up too much time. Let me turn it over to the next speaker.
Thank you. Now I want to invite Reggie Wallow, and she's the co-founder of Open Room. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My parents had immigrated to Canada back in 2000, okay? And at that time, I remember being very, very young, and my parents had, we were rented out an apartment in a very low-income housing space. And I remember the cockroaches that were running around in the apartments, and I remember slapping them when I was waking up in the evening to go to the washroom or grab a drink of water. But that was the kind of housing that I was living in with my mom and my dad. So it was 3 of us. But they had immigrated to Canada because they wanted to give me a better life. My name is Witeng Bolu, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Open Room. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what this is. Show of hands who has been to the LTB, Landlord Tenant Board. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Okay. Okay. For the rest of you who haven't gone, I hope you don't have to go. Okay? But anyways, when my parents had immigrated in 2000, in 4 years, my father and my mom had purchased a bungalow. In the basement of the bungalow, they had rented out the basement. At the time, I remember my father said, "Hey, Witeng, come help me write a receipt." I was like, what is this? Because I was very young. I didn't know what it was. Anyways, that's when he first got me into the rental housing ecosystem. And to Devji, earlier you were saying, bring your daughters, bring your wives, bring the ladies in your family. And that's how I got started, because my dad wanted me to get involved. And then later on, throughout the last decade, we had family friends and my dad's other basement property where he wanted me to just take over because, Witeng, you studied business, why don't you just do everything for free? So I got involved a lot over the last decade doing so. But back in 2017, after I graduated from university, my father and my mom and my uncle had pitched in to help me buy my first property. I was very, very happy. I had found a set of tenants, and I was in a rush to rent it out because I was, oh my gosh, there's a lot of money in play. I got to go find a set of tenants. So I definitely rushed a lot of my vetting process at that time. But my tenants were still paying rent. All is good. And then later on, a few years afterwards, I wanted to grow my family. I had asked my tenants to move out. I had issued the N12, which was to move out based on personal use. I had given compensation, given extra, I think it was triple amount of time for them to move out. What they had told me was, Witeng, I'm not moving out, and I'm also not going to pay rent anymore. That was a 2-year battle. And I was big belly pregnant. So for some context, I have 2 little kids under 2 years old right now. But at the time, it was so stressful going to the LTB matters because I kept making mistakes on my notices when I was issuing it to my tenants. But that was about a 2-year battle. And then I had gone to the LTB multiple times, and then at the LTB afterwards, the legal representative here was talking about the court orders that she would get. I had 7 of those, all right? 7. Because my tenants had filed stays, motions to the LTB to prolong their stay. So what that got me was one day, I was basically, during my parental leave, my husband, who is also my co-founder, we were sitting there and we were thinking, somebody has to do something about this because court orders are public documents. Each of you, have the ability to go to the courts and request for these documents. But what we had said was, we have these 7 court orders, what do we do with it? So then we had gone to what we know today is CANLI, which is the Canadian Legal Information Institute, which should publish these documents. They had completely ignored me. So I was sitting there, I was like, okay, well, Vishal, you and I, we build software for a living. Why don't we go do something about it? And that's when Open Room started. So let me give you some context on what Open Room is. If you go to www.openroom.ca, you would search a name or an address, and now you can even search for paralegals and adjudicators to help you make informed decisions. But basically, you would go on there, search, and then court order results would come out. So I wanted to show you a few stats of what we're looking at. Up here, from 0 to 30,000 people visiting the site every single month. I did not believe that when I looked at the stats. But it was 0 because I had started and it was just me. Well, technically, maybe it was 2 people, 2 visitors, my husband and I, right? And then now we're at 30,000 because we started super small, grassroots, just like the BHPA is doing right now. Starting small, but you're gonna grow big. And then from 7 to 16,000 court orders. We're not just talking about the Landlord-Tenant Board, even though this is Ontario where we focus in on most. What we're looking at is all across Canada. At a provincial level, we have Supreme Court, Superior Court, as well as the tribunals. But over 16,000. How this works is that it's crowdsourced. So those of you who have gone to the LTB and had those court orders, I hope that you choose to go to Open Room, upload it into our system. My team will review, and then we'll publish it to the public. Why is that important? It's because then we can help each other, each of us in the room, figure out who you should rent to. Make informed decisions. Last stat up here. What we were able to do with these 16,000 court orders is, now recent technology, we have the LLMs, which is the large language models. Super interesting. We were able to use AI to extract documents, information from the court orders, and look at that data, and then see what's good in the insights. And one of that, in 2021, average case per non-payment of rent is $8,000. Now we're in 2024, it's double that. $16,000 per case. During my ordeal, I had $35,000 in non-payment of rent. That doesn't even include the legal costs. And Kevin was earlier saying that his was $26,000. So we are above average, but this is what you're looking at in the multiple months of wait at the LTB. So this is a little bit of what I wanted to show you today. But why is it so important that BHPA invited me today? Because I'm so honored to be standing here, starting from my father's basement to where I am today, to share my story with you. Thank you. It's that what we're building right now at Open Room, we're not just a software company. And it really touched my heart when Rose from Solo, she's a board director at Solo. Solo is the Small Ontario Landlords Association, which you talked about, you heard earlier, is that she said to me yesterday, Open Room is not just a software company. It is a movement. And what Vishal and I, my husband and I, said is that we're going to build a company that is going to be very different from the traditional, is that we're going to build in public. What does building in public mean? Number one is that we care about the voices of each and every one of you. So when people are talking about us on Facebook, on Reddit, we are browsing. People think that we pay people to talk about us, but we've spent $0 in advertising. and yet we're able to reach 30,000 people every single month. That's it. That blows my mind. I know it's just like a couple thousand, it's not in the millions yet, but one day I hope that we will get there, and we will get there because each of you will help us get there. And number two is that building in public, we had started because of word of mouth. When we first started, honestly, I was like, I'm just gonna post my orders. We built it over a weekend. Single page application, let's just see what happens. And then it was because of the solo organization that actually spoke word through all of their family, friends, organization members that got Open Room to where it is today. Honestly, I'm standing here, I'm so honored to be here, and I wish you all the best. I will be here and I'll listen to all of your feedback. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now I want to invite Mr. Ravi to elaborate on the website, how to navigate the website, and all the other features. And after that, I will invite every one of you who want to say something, who has a story to share, so that we can work together. But same time, don't forget, भूलना नहीं है, ये हमारा सबका मोमेंट है, सबका आंदोलन है, सबका हम सबका पार्टिसिपेशन इसमें चाहिए. यहाँ पे कोई भेदभाव नहीं है. Please, let's work together for this cause. This is a cause, and when we depart from this world, at least we can feel proud that we did something good in life. Thank you, Ravi ji. Yeah, sorry. Mr. Taneja ji has a very, I'd say, disheartening story, the way he suffered a lot. So I'm inviting him to tell the story and his I would say, the journey of fight. Thank you.
Sorry, everybody. It's my first time to be stand up in the front of so many people and start to speak. So my name is Parvesh. I am just here to share my story with you guys. Last June, I have the bad tenants in my home, and they occupied my home for 6 months. And me and my wife goes very, very bad timing in that. We tried everything. We went to the police, we went to the city, we went to the provincial MPPs and everybody. And everywhere we go, just had the answer, oh, this is the LTB case. We have to go through there. Nobody helped us, nobody listened to us at that time. Then we already went to the radio stations, and then one day, we just went to the radio station, make a plan, and go by my home and throw their stuff out. So maybe you already saw the video of that, when we throw their stuff out too. But after that, when the police comes, still they say, no, you can't do like that. And they put them back again. So I go through all these things, and then in September, I apply for the LTTB, and by the God grace, like the people who knows me, by their wishes, I got the date in January. At end of the January, when I have the court date in 31st, right away they give the eviction notice, but I don't know, it's the God who helped me. When I go to my home, my tenants already leave. I don't have to call the police or anything, they already left my home. But the main thing is I am here to say all these things to you. Doesn't matter if we have the BHP there, solo here, the open room there, but it's the only you. You have to take the first step. You have to come forward, talk with these peoples, and do your help. Then this all things gonna work. If you are not taking the steps, nobody can help you. That's all I want to say. I want to say thank you to Open Room, because now when I look for the tenants, I go her website and check if they have anything bad about that. And I have the good tenant right now. Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you. So now, okay, come on, please. Thank you. Now we have Ravinder Braj. Thank you.
ਹੈਲੋ ਜੀ, ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ. ਮੈਂ ਫਸਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਆਈ ਹੈਗੀ ਹਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਇਸ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ. ਸੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਤੋਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਤੋਂ ਪਤਾ ਚੱਲਿਆ ਸੀ, ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ। ਸੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਇੱਕ ਲੈਂਡਲੋਰਡ ਹੋਣ ਦੇ ਨਾਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਘਰ ਰੈਂਟ 'ਤੇ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ। ਸੋ ਲੇਡੀ ਵੈਸਟ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਤੋਂ ਸੀ। ਸੋ ਸ਼ੀ ਰੈਂਟ ਆਊਟ $3200 ਫਸਟ ਰੈਂਟ ਐਂਡ ਦਾ ਲਾਸਟ ਰੈਂਟ ਸ਼ੀ ਪੇ ਮੀ। ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ 1.5 ਸਾਲ ਉਸਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਰੈਂਟ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ $55,000 ਸੀ। ਸੋ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਦੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਲਾਈਨ ਆਫ ਕ੍ਰੈਡਿਟ ਤੋਂ ਉਹ ਰੈਂਟ ਪੇ ਕਰਦੀ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ। ਐਜ਼ ਏ ਸਿੰਗਲ ਮਦਰ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਉਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਸੈਟਲ ਕੀਤਾ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਸਨੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਮੈਸਅਪ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਤੇ ਸਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੰਗਸ ਹੈ, ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮਸ ਹੈ। ਜਦੋਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਉਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੇਟਿੰਗ ਪੀਰੀਅਡ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸਿਟੀ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਜਿਸ ਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੋਰ ਦੈਨ $100,000 ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਫਾਈਨ ਸੀਗਾ। ਅਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਬੜੇ ਉਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਪਸੈਟ ਹੋਏ ਕਿ ਮੰਮ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਪੈਸੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, $1,00,000 ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਾਈਨ ਸਿਟੀ ਕਰੇਗੀ, ਅਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਕੁਛ ਕਰੋ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ ਸਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਹਰਕੀਰਤ ਨੂੰ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਡਿਪਟੀ ਮੇਅਰ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਿਆ। ਉਸ ਲੇਡੀ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਕੀਤਾ, ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਈ ਜਾਣ ਪਛਾਣ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਕੰਸਟਰਕਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਮੈਸਅਪ ਸਮਾਨ ਸੀ ਸਾਰਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਿੱਟ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਿਟੀ ਨੇ ਫੇਰ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਆਊਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ। ਮੈਂ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਡੰਪ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਕੇ ਰੈਂਟ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ $2,200 ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਮੈਸ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਚੁਕਵਾਇਆ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ 10 ਦਿਨ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹਨੇ ਫੇਰ ਹੋਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਮਾਨ ਉੱਥੇ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਸਿੱਟ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਪਿਕਚਰਸ ਕਲੀਨ ਅਪ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਸਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਪਿਕਚਰਾਂ ਭੇਜੀਆਂ ਕਿ ਆਹ ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਾਫ਼ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਇੱਥੇ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕਲੀਨ ਅਪ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੀ, ਰਾਈਟ। ਅਤੇ ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਇਹ ਜਾਏਗੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਇਸ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੀ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਕੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕੇਸ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ। ਸੋ ਕੋਰਟ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ, ਰਾਈਟ। ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਲਾਇਰ, ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਹੋਰ ਇੱਕ ਲਾਇਰ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਿਸ ਨੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਕੀਤੀ, ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਚਲੀ ਗਈ ਅਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਫਾਈਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਚਲੋ $55,000 ਇਜ਼ ਗੌਨ। ਫਿਰ ਉਸਨੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਘਰ ਖਾਲੀ ਕੀਤਾ। ਸੋ ਮੇਰਾ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਸਿਟੀ ਕੋਲੇ ਐਜ਼ ਏ ਟੈਨੈਂਟ ਤਾਂ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਟੈਨੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਸੁਣੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ, ਰਾਈਟ। ਸਾਡੀ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਉਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸੁਣੀ ਜਾਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਟੈਨੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਸੁਣੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ। ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਟੈਨੈਂਟ 'ਤੇ ਧੱਕਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ, ਪਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਸੁਣੀ ਜਾਵੇ। ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਐਜ਼ ਏ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਬਹੁਤ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਜਾਣੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ। ਸੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਫਰੈਂਡ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰ ਭੈਣ ਭਰਾ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਨੂੰ 10-10 15-15 ਜਾਣਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੰਪੈਲ ਕਰੋ ਕਿ ਅਗਲਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਆਪਣਾ 8 ਤਰੀਕ ਨੂੰ ਅਤੇ 16 ਤਰੀਕ ਨੂੰ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਵੱਧ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਉੱਥੇ ਯੂਨਿਟੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਿਟੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਨ ਅਤੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਫਿਊਚਰ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਟੈਨੈਂਟ ਅਤੇ ਲੈਂਡਲੋਰਡ ਦੇ ਲਾਅ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੂਰੇ ਰਾਈਟਸ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਣ। ਤੇ ਸੌਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਾਂਗੀ ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ, ਅਤੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਮੇਰਾ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਸੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਘਰੋਂ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ। ਓਕੇ जी, थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू। देखिए बिल्कुल सही बात है, नो रेंट नो प्लेस, ऐसा कानून होना चाहिए प्रोविंशियल पे। अगर कोई रेंट नहीं पे करता तो उसको रहने का कोई हक नहीं है। जैसे बिजनेस है, मान लो बिजनेस के अंदर एक दिन भी लेट हो जाता है तो जो लैंडलॉर्ड है वो लोग चेंज कर सकता है उसका। तो हमारे पास भी एज ए लैंडलॉर्ड ये राइट्स होने चाहिए, लेकिन ये राइट्स ऐसे नहीं मिलेंगे। इसके लिए बहुत फाइट करनी पड़ेगी, और फाइट आप अकेले नहीं कर सकते, हम नहीं कर सकते, हम मिलके कर सकते हैं। बार बार आपसे यही विनती की जाती है कि जो भी आपके फैमिली फ्रेंड्स हैं, जो भी इवेंट्स होता है, आपने मैक्सिमम उसको शेयर करना है, मैक्सिमम लोगों की कैसे इन्वॉल्वमेंट रखनी है वो हमने करना है। इसके बाद मैं रवि जी को बुलाने से पहले एक बार एबीगेल, आई एम इनवाइटिंग एबीगेल, प्लीज come on the podium and say a few words. Thank you so much. And we are finishing this meeting right on time at 4 o'clock. It's 3:27. We have 33 minutes left. Thank you. Abigail.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. I've been a landlord for a long time, though the stipulation right now is not under mine. But one thing we have to do as landlords, that we all have to come together and fight. We cannot decide not to do anything. So what are we saying? As landlords, you have tenants. So you need to talk to your tenants. They need to come out too to this fight. Because what happens is, when the government levies this money on us, we pass it down to the tenants. So their prices are going to go up too. You have to explain to them. Education is the key. So once they know all these things, they will also come out with us when we are demonstrating. We need the numbers to make the government think twice about what they do. Because these politicians are after votes. When they see the numbers as so much, they're going to back down. But right now, we don't have the numbers. And how do we get these numbers? By talking to our friends. All of us here have friends. Look through your contact list. Begin to call them one by one when you have time. Talk to them. They need to come out. It's people who fought for us long time ago. That's why we are here today. If we don't fight for ourselves and our children to come, it's going to be a mess. So we all have to fight together. So talk to your friends, talk to your relatives, and let them all come out. And also, what can we do here? You can go out in twos in your street and educate them. We need to come out. We need to show the solidarity as landlords. Because you know those in your street who are landlords. And when you talk to them, they're going to respond. If you look at everybody here, there are a lot of people, communities that are not represented here. We need to get to those people, because when we are neighbors, we are nice to our neighbors. Talk to them and they will begin to come out. Don't give up to say, oh, I've done this, I've done that. You have to stick to it. That's the only way we're going to win. The people who made the light bulb, they did it several times and they failed, but they did not stop. He continued, and that's why we have lights today. So we have to continue to talk to our neighbors, friends, and so on to get these people. Educate them of what the landlord-tenant board is, what our BHPA association is, how it's going to help them, and also what the city is doing. Because they camouflage that we are bad landlords. No, we are not bad landlords. They've paid your money already to them. They don't provide us the amenities we need. Why are the places dirty? The garbage containers are not there. You pay for your money, and yet they still give you one garbage container. Why? So the city is not doing its part, and yet they are just heaping it on the landlords. Let me tell you, the city, the Ontario government have been in the landlord business, and they've not been able to do it, so they end up selling most of their properties. They end up doing all those things because they could not stand the landlords, the tenants. So they have failed, and the only one they can get is the landlords, because we are law-abiding citizens, and they can just give you taxes on top of your tax, and then you will pay. So they feel we are their cash cow. So we will not let that happen. So we have to fight. Power in numbers. If we come out in the next demonstration in large numbers, the city will think twice. So let's not give up. Talk to your students, talk to your friends, talk to your tenants. You have to come out. All of us have to take turns. Those who are retired, we need you at this time to be able to go to the city on a regular basis, to do the demonstrations. And when they find out that we are not relenting, they will give in. But we all have to work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Atika. Now I want to invite Mr. Verdi, say a few words, and I'll invite Mr. Surender Singh. Thank you.
Thank you. I will not take much time. First of all, good afternoon, Sat Sri Akal, good Savnoji. So many things have been discussed here. Everybody talking about the problem, everybody talking about the tenant issues, everybody talking about the bylaws and blah, blah, blah. Who is making bylaws? The bureaucrats, the clerks, and who are implementing them? The politicians. Nobody talking about the politicians who are creating all the problem. Did anybody talk about the politicians? Who are responsible? No, from here. Who are responsible for all this mess? When we choose politicians, we don't even think about that what we are going to face in the future. What kind of people are representing us in the cities, in the province, and in the federal governments? Nobody talk about that. It's very, very unfortunate. ਅਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਚੁਣਦੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਦਾ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰ ਚੁਣਦੇ ਆ we choose our friends, we choose our relatives, we choose our community people, we choose white people, we choose Sikh people, we choose black people, blah, 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 all these things. We don't choose intelligent people, we don't choose people who are passionate to work for the public, to do something better for the community. to do something for better future. We have to start thinking from ourselves first. You know, all these things, what we are talking about today, all these have been created by the politicians. I am very clear about it. If you have any, you know, don't agree with me, raise your hand. You know, ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੌਖੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. Everybody, you know, very much, you know, worried about this. And we should start from ourselves. We should start from our, you know, from our homes, our neighbors, our co-workers. Then we can make some change. I'm sorry if I'm hurting somebody, but this is the real truth. Bylaw bande hai ji, ab RLL the problem aayi hai. From the day one, Mr. Ravi and so many people are talking about that. How many people have discussed all these things in our community? When politicians came to our house, when politicians came to our public functions, we go to have some photograph with them. We always praise them. We always do that. You know, they are our bosses. No, they are not our bosses. They are our servants. From our pocket, we are paying them their pay. All the perks, all the benefits, what they are taking about, they are taking from our pockets. And why will not, you know, make responsible them? Unless we target the politician, we cannot change anything. Do any protest, do anything, nothing going to change. This is my point of view. Haji sir. Haji sir.
I would like to add the things I already explained with some suggestions. So, over 3 councillors. One is Mr. Sood, who is the deputy mayor also. I emailed to their official emails, to their personal emails, all these suggestions to them. Nobody has answered me. And the copy of the email I already shared in our group also. So to ask them the next time the politicians are coming to their homes, to ask the votes, to ask these questions to them.
Yes.
So what they are doing. But no politician is talking about there for us, and nobody has answered me on these emails.
Saji, that's what I'm saying. This is our own problem because we don't know our rights, we don't know our power. This is the problem. We have the power. If any politician is not doing anything for us, just kick them out in next elections. And we are not doing that. I'm sorry to say we are not doing that. Again and again, same people are coming there, and when we talk about that, you know, we have this issue. Even, you know, this RL program, when people kind of Ravi ji and all the other people, they went to the city hall and they talk to them. They're saying that you have your own motives and you have some other plan. That's why you are against this RLL. Who are they to blame us? They are nobody. Again, I'm saying they are nobody. They are somebody because of us. When they came to, you know, public ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕਿਤੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਈਵਨ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਵੇਟ ਫੰਕਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਬਾਂਹ ਫੜ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਵਾਲ ਕਰੋ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਾਣਾ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਲ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ, ਭਾਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ, you are not good for us. You're not doing anything for us, you're not good for us. You will not get any respect from us. Then they will start working with us. Thank you.
देखिए, I think most of you know कि जो अपने, मैं नाम लेने में संकोच नहीं करूँगा क्योंकि CBC का आर्टिकल था, CP24 का आइटम था. हम किन पॉलिटिशियन की बात करते हैं, हम किन को जिता के भेजते हैं. मिस्टर टूर जो वार्ड 9, 10 से रीजनल काउंसलर है, उनका अपना घर $12,500 सिटी ने फाइन किया उनको नोटिस भेजे इतने. बायला ऑफिसर को भी उसने कोई रिप्लाई नहीं किया. तो हम किन पॉलिटिशियन को चुन के भेजते हैं. और ये देखिए, ये न्यूज मीडिया में आने के बाद भी आप लोगों ने क्या किया है, हमने क्या किया है. द स्टोरी इज डेड. सब भूल गए. किसी ने बोला हमको मिस्टर टूर को पूछे कि भी सिटी उसको काउंसलर रहने का कोई हक नहीं है. जो सिटी बायलाज को खुद फॉलो नहीं करते, उनकी रिस्पेक्ट नहीं करते, आप ऐसे पॉलिटिशियन को हम चुन के भेजते हैं. ये हमारे लिए विद्या साहब की बात है कि शर्म की बात है.
अगर कोई पॉलिटिशियन ऐसा करता है तो वी हैव द राइट टू रिकॉल, लेकिन हम चुप हो जाते हैं, हम नहीं बोलते। यही हमारी कमी है और इस कमी को हमने दूर करना है। बिल्कुल एक अच्छी बात है, हमें जो पैशनेट लोग हैं उन्हीं को इलेक्ट करके भेजना है, उन्हीं को आगे लेके आना है। देखिए सपोज करो आप कोई प्रोग्राम करते हो, कोई भी प्रोग्राम आप करते हो, तो कुछ टाइम बाद लोग कहते हैं इसका कोई अपना मोटो होगा यहाँ पे, इसलिए ये बात करते हैं, इसलिए टीवी पे आके बोलते हैं, रेडियो पे आके बोलते हैं, इधर बोलते हैं। अरे अच्छी बात है, कोई आपके बारे में बोलता तो है, उनको आगे लेके आओ, कम से कम आपको पता तो है ना उनका कि वो लोग आपके लिए क्या करते हैं। एक अनजान लोग को आप लेके आते हो, वो आपके लिए कुछ नहीं करते, वो एक पपेट बन के रह जाते हैं, या आपके लिए एक समझो स्लीपिंग पॉलिटिशियन हो जाते हैं। उनका क्या करना है? देखिए मिसिसागा के अंदर अभी इलेक्शन है मेयर का। पहले जो मेयर थे उन्होंने इलेक्शन लड़ा, इलेक्ट होके चले गए। लॉस किसका है? टैक्स पेयर का। मिलियंस डॉलर्स इलेक्शन पे खर्च हुआ है। तो हमें ऐसे लोग चाहिए, ऐसे लोगों से कमिटमेंट चाहिए जो भी किसी पोजीशन पे आते हैं कि उनको पहले यहाँ पे सर्व करना है। ये नहीं कि 1 साल के बाद आए, अपॉर्चुनिटी आई, उड़ गए हो। ऐसे लोग आपके लिए काम नहीं करेंगे। ओके, थैंक यू। तो थैंक यू सो मच। और अभी मैं ओके, थैंक यू। Okay, give me 1 minute. Let me call Surendra ji. Please come on. Just take little short time because we are running out. Yeah, 3:40. Thank you.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਗੁੱਡ ਆਫਟਰਨੂਨ। ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਦੋਂ ਬੈਗ ਹੱਥ 'ਚ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਲੱਤਾਂ ਕੰਬਣ ਲੱਗਦੀਆਂ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਆ, ਇਹ ਮੇਰਾ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ। ਇੱਥੇ 20,000 ਤੋਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਡਿਸਕਸੇ ਨਹੀਂ। ਜਦੋਂ ਮੀਡੀਆ 'ਤੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਜਾਈਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਰੇਡੀਓ 'ਤੇ ਸੁਣੀਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਹਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਹੀ ਲੋਕ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ। ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਇਕੱਠ ਹੋਣਾ ਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਸੌਂ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਸਿਰਫ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਮਿਣਤੀ ਦੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ। ਸੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਈਏ, ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਫਰੈਂਡਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਆਪਣੇ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਇੱਕ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਨਾਲ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਈਏ ਗਾਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ। ਸੋ ਮੇਰੀ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਆ। ਮੈਂ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੈਂਟ 'ਤੇ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਘਰ। 5 ਜਾਣੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਨਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਸੀ, ਤੇ ਰੀਅਲ ਸਟੇਟ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੇ ਸਾਈਨ ਕਰਾ ਲਏ 5 ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਦੇ। ਤੇ 2 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਬਾਈਲਾ ਵਾਲਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਗਿਆ, ਗੰਦ ਪਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਬਾਹਰ। ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਆਊਟ ਆਫ ਸਿਟੀ ਸੀਗਾ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਭੇਜਤਾ, ਜਦੋਂ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਬੜੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ 5 ਬੰਦੇ ਆ ਜੀ। ਕੋਰਟ 'ਚ ਚਲੇ ਗਏ। ਕੋਰਟ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦੇ ਦਾ $5,000 ਜੁਰਮਾਨਾ ਕੀਤਾ। ਮੈਂ ਭਰਿਆ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਰਥਡੇ ਮਨਾਇਆ ਆਪਣਾ। ਬਰਥਡੇ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਬਣਾਇਆ, $365 ਦੀ ਟਿਕਟ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆ ਗਈ। ਤੇ ਗੁਆਂਢੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ 2 ਵਜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਾਲ ਕੀਤੀ, ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਧਾਂ ਹਿੱਲਦੀਆਂ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਿਊਜ਼ਿਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਜਦਾ। ਚਲੋ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਨ ਕੀਤਾ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ, ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆ ਜਾਊਗੀ। ਸੋ ਮੇਰਾ ਕਹਿਣ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੈਰੀ ਹੱਥ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਾਪੂ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਬਾਪੂ ਜੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ ਰੈਂਟ 'ਤੇ। ਉਹ ਮਹੀਨੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੀ ਅਪਾਇੰਟਮੈਂਟ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਇਓ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਾਪੂ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਘਰੇ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ 25 ਬੰਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ, ਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਘਰ ਦੀ ਫਲੋਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਦਿਖਦੀ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਰੰਗ ਦੀ ਆ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਟਾਈਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਰੰਗ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਦਿੰਦਾ। ਵਾਸ਼ਰੂਮਾਂ ਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਆਹ ਹਾਲ ਸੀ। ਟਾਇਲਟ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਹੱਥਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗੰਦ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਨਾ, ਤੇ ਕੰਧ ਤੇ ਏਦਾਂ ਲੱਗੇ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ ਛਿੱਟੇ। ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਫੋਟੋਆਂ ਪਈਆਂ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੂਵ ਹੋ ਜਾਓ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੱਢ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ। 1 ਸਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਰੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਜਦੋਂ 1 ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਕੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗਿਆ, 1.5 ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੋਰਟ ਦਾ ਲੈਟਰ ਆਇਆ, ਉਹ ਬੰਦੇ ਨਿਕਲ ਗਏ ਜਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਿਕਲੇ ਤਾਂ ਡੇਟ ਤੇ ਆ ਜਾ। 1.5 ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਕੋਲ ਗਿਆ, ਇੱਥੇ ਪਤਵੰਤੇ ਸੱਜਣ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ, ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਗਿਆ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਗੱਲ ਆ, ਮੇਰਾ 2-4 ਵਾਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਗਿਆ, ਕੁਛ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਫੋਟੋਆਂ ਮੈਂ ਲੈ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਯਕੀਨ ਕਰਿਓ ਵੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਹੈਰਾਨ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਹਾਲ ਕੀ ਆ, ਸੂਰ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ। ਹਜੇ ਸੂਰ ਵੀ ਪਾਸਾ ਪੂਸਾ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਮਿੱਟੀ ਮੁੱਟੀ ਝਾੜ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਘਰ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਨਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਸਫਾਈ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ। ਉਹ ਸੂਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਵੀ ਭੈੜਾ ਹਾਲ ਸੀ। ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਫੋਟੋਆਂ ਪਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਵਰਲਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਮੇਰੇ ਘਰ ਦੀ ਮੂਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਸ਼ਹੂਰ ਕਰਤਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ 10,000 ਤੋਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਫੋਨ ਆਏ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੱਢੇ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਆ ਉਹ? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਦੱਸੋ, ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਕੱਢਣੇ ਆ। ਲੋਕ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਫੋਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਵੀ ਘਰੇ ਉਹ ਕੱਢੇ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਨਵਰ? ਬੰਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਪਾਸੇ ਰਹਿ ਗਏ। ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਮੈਂ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗਿਆ, ਮੀਡੀਆ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਥ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਕੁਛ ਮੇਰੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਮੁੱਛਾਂ ਖੜੀਆਂ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਬੜਕ ਮਾਰੀ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਡਰਦੇ ਨਿਕਲ ਗਏ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਖਾਸਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਵ ਪਿਆ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ। ਸੋ 1.5 ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਆਇਆ ਜੀ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਵੀ 5 ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਰੈਂਟ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਉੱਥੇ ਕੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗਿਆ, ਕੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਰੀਕਾ ਪਈਆਂ ਕਿਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀਆਂ ਕਿ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦੇ ਵੱਧ ਨੂੰ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਤੁਸੀਂ 3000 ਸਕੁਅਰ ਫੁੱਟ ਘਰ ਹੈ ਮੇਰਾ, 4 ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ 3000 ਸਕੁਅਰ ਫੁੱਟ ਘਰ, 5 ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ। ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 25 ਬੰਦੇ ਦੇਖੇ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਸਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ 5 ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦਾ ਵੱਧ ਸੀਗਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਭੇਜਦਾ ਨੋਟਿਸ, ਆ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ 25 ਬੰਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਬੜੇ ਪਏ, ਆ ਕੇ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ। ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਈਮੇਲਾਂ ਪਈਆਂ, ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਪਿਆ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੈਨੈਂਟ ਬੋਰਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਓ, ਮੈਂ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਦਾ। ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਫੋਰਡ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਈਮੇਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਵੀ ਫੋਰਡ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਮੇਰੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੰਦੇ ਇੰਨੇ ਬੜੇ ਪਏ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੱਢੋ, ਕੋਈ ਹੱਲ ਦੱਸੋ। ਫੋਰਡ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਕੋਈ, ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ, ਮੇਰੇ ਹੱਥ 'ਚ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ। ਇੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਈਮੇਲ ਕੀਤੀ। ਮੈਂ ਕੋਈ ਬੰਦਾ ਛੱਡਿਆ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ। ਇੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਫਿਰਦੇ ਆ ਸਰਕਾਰੀਆ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਆ ਗਏ, ਮੈਂ ਐਂ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ ਟੈਨੈਂਟ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੂੰ, ਉਹ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ, ਗੱਲਾਂ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਤੁਰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ। ਭਾਈ ਜੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਸੁਣਦਾ। ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ 'ਚ ਦਮ ਹੈਗਾ ਨਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਘਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਇਮ ਰੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਅਦਰਵਾਈਜ਼ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਭੁੱਲ ਜਾਓ। ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਬੰਦਾ ਵੜ ਜਾਏ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਾਈ ਦਾ ਲੱਗ ਕੋਈ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਦਿਖਾ ਦਿਓ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ। ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਾਂ ਮੈਂ, ਇੱਥੇ ਦੇ ਹਾਲਾਤ, ਸਿਰਫ 2 ਮਿੰਟ ਲੈਣੇ ਪਲੀਜ਼। ਉਹ ਬੰਦੇ ਭੱਜ ਗਏ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਹਾ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦਾ ਹੋਰ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਵੜਦਾ। ਮੈਂ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਨ ਕੀਤਾ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਜੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਘਰੇ ਅਣਪਛਾਤਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਤੁਰਿਆ ਫਿਰਦਾ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਵੜ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ। ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆਈ ਮੇਰੇ ਘਰੇ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਕੌਣ ਆ? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਸਬ ਲੀਜ਼ ਤੇ ਲਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਘਰ, ਕੱਲਾ ਬੰਦਾ, ਡਰਗੀ ਬੰਦਾ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਡਰੱਗ ਪੀਣਾ ਔਰ ਮੈਂ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਆ। ਉਹ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ। ਮੈਂ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਕਾਲ ਕੀਤੀ, ਪੁਲਿਸ ਵਾਲਾ ਵੀਰ ਆਇਆ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਜੀ ਆਹ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਆ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਈਡੀ ਦੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਈਡੀ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ। ਅੱਛਾ, ਪੁਲਿਸ ਵਾਲੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੀ ਟੈਨੈਂਟ ਬੋਰਡ 'ਚ ਜਾ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਜੇ ਕੱਢਣਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੱਢ ਸਕਦੇ। ਮੈਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਭਾਈ ਤੂੰ ਨਿਕਲਣਾ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ? ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੇ। $600 ਉਸ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਕੱਢਿਆ। ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਫੋਟੋਆਂ ਨੇ, ਮੈਂ ਕੋਈ ਹਰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਪ੍ਰੂਫ ਆ। ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਕੇਸ ਕੀਤਾ। 4 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ, 4 ਸਾਲਾਂ 'ਚੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਡੇਟ ਪਈ ਆ। 4 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੋਰਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੜਦੇ ਆ, ਇੱਕ ਡੇਟ ਪਈ ਆ। ਸਾਡਾ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਵੀ ਭੈੜਾ ਹਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਇੱਥੇ। ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੀ ਕਰੋਨਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ 'ਚ ਕਰੋਨਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ 4 ਸਾਲਾਂ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਹਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ 'ਚ ਜੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੱਡੀ ਆਫਤ ਆ ਗਈ ਤੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਇਹ? ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜਗਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੁੱਤਿਓ, ਜਿੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦਿਹਾੜੀਆਂ ਲਾ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਉਨੇ ਆ ਨਾ, ਨਿਆਣੇ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਰਾਤ ਵਾਲਾ ਭਾਈ ਆ ਗਿਆ, ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਵੀ ਵਿਕ ਜਾਣੇ ਆ, ਚਲੇ ਜਾਣੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਲਾਏ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ। 4 ਸਾਲਾਂ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਡੇਟ ਪਈ ਆ। ਮੈਂ ਵਕੀਲ ਨੂੰ 15 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਕੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਫੋਨ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦਾ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਡੇਟ ਆਈ। ਉਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹੱਸ ਕੇ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਦਾ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਹੀ ਕੀ ਕਰਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਜੋਬ। ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਵੀ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਇਹ ਰੱਖਿਆ, ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ, ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਦੱਸਿਆ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਯਕੀਨ ਕਰਿਓ, ਮੈਂ ਐਂਡ ਤੇ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ, ਜਦੋਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਬੈਠੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਚੋਪੜਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਏਸ਼ੀਆ ਵਾਲੇ, ਉਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਜੰਗਲ ਜਾਨਵਰ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਇੱਥੇ ਗਰਾਜ ਵੀ ਭਰੀ ਪਈ ਪੂਰੀ, ਔਰ $10,000 ਤੋਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਗਾਰਬੇਜ ਚੁਕਾ ਕੇ ਸੁੱਟਿਆ।